Welcome to Docsie. Docsie is an AI-powered knowledge management platform that is built to help you create your knowledge, update and publish your product documentation, and share it with your customers and your internal users by combining internal and external product knowledge. Docsie is a documentation platform that focuses on helping you build out your knowledge portals that looks something like this and can be used to educate your customers on the web. In-app help interfaces that look like this and can be a combination of help centers and guiding tours to help walk your users through your applications, and AI chatbots that look something like this and can be used to basically have a conversation with your documentation. So the way that Docsie works is that it enables your team to create, publish, and share knowledge with the relevant stakeholders. Now, let's take a look into how Docsie works in depth and how you can accomplish all of these three things using Docsie. To understand Docsie, let's first look into the structure of content within the platform. So the content in Docsie is structured with shelves, which are like categories, and shelves have individual books, which are like collections of articles. So depending on whether you're building internal or external documentation and your specific industry, this structure can be used to basically facilitate your specific use case. So let's start with a product-driven company that needs to publish a knowledge portal to educate its users on how their product works. To get started with Docsie, what they would need to do is they would need to, first and foremost, to create a shelf and to create a book or use an existing template that is available within Docsie to generate a structure for their content. That structure can later be published as an online help portal, in-app help interface, or as an interactive chatbot. So the way that the content is created in Docsie is using our what you see as what you get editor, which contains multiple options for you to make your content better and to make it easier to understand for your end users. You can upload images, videos, insert dynamic content such as things like Google Maps, content embeds, support. You can really add anything. You can Figma, InVision, Miro, anything you really use that's on the web can be embedded within Docsie as a standalone application to kind of accelerate the education process of your end users. So the way that we help you create your content is in two ways. You can just do it the old-fashioned way of building the content yourself using all these options, or you can use our AI, which is basically a list of predefined skills that you can use to kind of make your content better, to understand if the content is harmful, to remove redundant to perform language translations, correct grammar, fact check the content, etc. So there's many skills that you can build as many of your own skills as you like as well, and then you'll pretty much generate this AI content in Docsie, which will take some time, but eventually it will create your content that you can use within your application. The other ways to generate content within Docsie is by using fragments, articles, or templates, which are basically pieces of reusable content that you can use to insert into your existing documentation, or to use snippets, which are reusable, single-sourced pieces of content that you can use as a way to do single sourcing within your application and to create these type of experiences. So once you are done and you created your documentation, you organize some of your content, you may be looking for a way to publish it. And the way to publish it is by creating deployments. Docsie supports several types of deployments, and the way that deployments are done is you can have them secured or unsecured, and you can pick and choose what type of content gets published for each individual deployment. This is great if you have public and private content and you need to publish an internal and customer-facing knowledge base, or you need to publish multiple customer-facing knowledge bases for customers who have different entitlements for your product. Another way would be to create an in-app help interface, which looks something like this. And these are contextually relevant and aware interfaces that can be embedded throughout your web application, and they can be used to educate your end users in real time on how to utilize and use your product. Now, going forward, another thing that you can do is you can also publish a chatbot, as we mentioned before, that looks like this, and the chatbot can basically take the content of an individual deployment and utilize that as its source to be able to answer customers in natural language queries and provide support in that way. So how would your workflow in Docsie look like? So the way that Docsie facilitates workflows is through the use of projects. Projects are used in Docsie to be able to showcase different, to be able to create tasks and assign them to individual contributors and to build out workflows and steps around those tasks. So, for example, you will have a task for drafting content, reviewing, approving, translation, approval, then final review, and then maybe legal review, and then you will publish that content. So, projects correspond to releases, and releases correspond to versions. All the content that you have on Docsie can have multiple versions and is basically versioned and can be used to and the versions are used as a way to publish new content without disturbing or disrupting existing content. So, in your knowledge portals, your versions will look like this, and the user will be able to switch to and from a different version. Or you can publish a knowledge portal with a specific version in mind and lock that user to that specific version. And that depends on your use case, whether or not you have customers who are using older version of your product or newer version of your product. Another concept in Docsie is called revisions, and revisions are basically similar to versions, but they're basically individual versions of different content within your application, and you can take diffs between different revisions of your content, and then based on those diffs you can revert back any content to the previous stage where it was. Now, collaboration in Docsie is done obviously with the project management, where you can define these projects and then use these projects as a way to control your releases and provide you with workflows or tasks, and which is a more simple way to do project management, where you assign individual tasks to individual team members for individual content, and then they work through their tasks to complete the work. There is also an analytics component within Docsie, which is basically which can be utilized to show people how the people accessing the product, give people an avenue to provide feedback, as well as analyze your search results, what people are looking for, what people are trying to understand, and what are your most searched articles and what are your top keywords that are being searched. There is additional analytics that can be provided at the enterprise level as well, and we can get into the specifics for the enterprise demo. So, in terms of the collaboration aspects of Docsie, you have granular permissions that you can offer to your team, and your teammates can basically share knowledge together, and you can invite individual contributors and then manage what content they have access to. The platform is extensible and it supports basically API. There is extensive API documentation, there is webhooks, and there is a bunch of different ways to analyze your content, such as vocabulary manager, editorial, style guides, etc. Another concept to talk about in Docsie is, of course, localization. So localization can be used to basically generate multilingual knowledge portals, and Docsie has a feature called Ghost Translation, which will also automatically translate your content as it gets updated and published. The goal of this is to basically to create for multilingual experiences for your content, and to be able to switch to and from different versions of content and different languages of content and translate automatically. So this covers all the basics of Docsie. There are a lot of more advanced use cases that can be covered in our trainings, but this kind of provides you with an overview of what our platform can do, and hopefully this is helpful to you. Thank you.